So we're here
Yeah, let's
doing it.
start. Let's do it. We have no ideas like how to even call it, but it's a really tough conversations in the community world, I guess.
Yay. Yeah, my favorite topic ever.
Yeah,
Tough
I know,
conversation.
I know. After Anderson Street, yeah, I can imagine. Like I didn't see like how it goes, but I saw like a few recordings, like a few episodes of that
Oh yeah.
trailers,
hmm
and I feel like it's tough.
It is tough. It's especially tough uh holding the space for people as they are battling between I really want to say what I think, but I'm terrified of what other people are going to think of me. I've always believed this thing to be true, but now maybe that's changing because of the conversation that I'm having. I'm like learning new things. Who am I if I don't believe this thing anymore? Right? Like
Yeah.
there's all that that's happening in these conversations. And if, like, as long as the person that's holding the space is modeling what they want to see, which I think is also very community manager, right? It's like, if I want this space to be open, honest, maybe messy, a little bit blurry and gray, uh, non-judgmental, then I have to also I have to be the first person to model all of that.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's what these kind of conversations do for me. It almost it like files my nails. It continuously keeps me honed to this sort of okay. I if what I want to see in the world are these things, then I get to be these things. And so the conversation, well, the thought that's been circulating in my mind of late, of course, stems from diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging, as it's now DEIB in the US primarily. This is a thing that's in the US, and it's certainly exacerbated over the course of the pandemic and being in virtual spaces and being in cross-cultural spaces. And specifically, I was in one of my own hosted speakeasy sessions, which
Mhm.
shameless plug is happening tomorrow, Wednesday. Yurii, it'll probably be too early in the morning for you to attend, but and we're going to talk about culture. But in one on identity, someone asked me, "What do I think is the relationship or intersection between acceptance and belonging?" And I thought it was a trick
Mm.
question. So I said, well, acceptance is the precursor to belonging. And then we unraveled that a bit and spoke a bit further. And now I'm toying with this viewpoint of acceptance is actually external validating, external defining, external seeking. I am reliant on you to accept me and all that
Mm.
I bring to any table. And what's in the unsaid piece of that is if tomorrow I change like Alice in Wonderland, right? Like every day can be a whole new me, then will you no longer accept me? So best I stay how I've been defining myself versus this idea that acceptance and belonging are actually two different factions that complement one another because belonging comes from you, about you. So if you believe that you belong in the space that you're in full alignment, like every aspect of you feels sure, grounded. I can stand here. My people are here. They feel me. I can speak honestly, vulnerably. I could cry with
Mm.
these people because I'm so certain that I belong wherever I'm at. That's a completely, that is almost a mind boggling view of the status quo about DEIB. So And passing it to you, Yurii.
I was
Drop the
I was
mic.
I was thinking like if the acceptance is by other people and belonging is your internal feeling, so I feel like it's very much connected to like self-confidence. You can be super confident. You can feel and okay, I no matter what, I belong here. Yes, but how can you belong anywhere if other people do not think like do not think that you are belonging there? For example, if a kid, like let's say not English speaking person come into an English speaking class, like how can this kid be accepted? So, for example, I heard many stories. I feel like it was
Oh yeah.
Pablo Gonzalez who also told me the story when he, like a Spanish-speaking person, who joined like
Yep.
preschool, or it was like early school, and he was like, "I didn't speak English. I didn't know what to do." And like how, like it's okay, yeah, it's great, it's nice if like other kids are taught to like accept everyone and like try to help, but how can you explain to a kid like, so this person is talking another language? How I'm just trying to find out how to feel that you belong if you are not being accepted by others.
That is a great point. And what comes to mind, like, yeah, my boyfriend, he's from Montenegro, former Yugoslavia. So, and he moved here during that genocide. And um, he was English as a second language, which
Yeah.
in this country, a lot of times, if you're ESL, you're immediately seen as dumb
Mm.
or, in special ed. And that's very rarely the case, right? Like you don't know the language yet. You have to now learn it plus be at the same level as all your other peers because you're at that age of whatever it says, society says you should know stuff at. I think when it
Yeah.
comes to kids, and I would even say into adolescence, this one is a super sticky wicket, right? So like I can't say, I mean, I'm not a parent, you're a parent. I don't know yet what I'll be like in that regard of like teaching who you accept, who you choose to, that acceptance is a choice that you get to make. You know, really, the choice is you don't have to accept everybody. What if there was more teaching around you are allowed to feel into your body and know whether you gut instinct yes or no with a person in your space, right? Like that can come from you. That's allowed. Blanket acceptance feels like almost the graying of the world to me. It's very much like let's accept everyone. Everyone's the same. We're all, and yes, at the end of the philosophical day, we are all one, right? Yes, we are all one and we are all love. I'm totally with that. But we are living in this 3D plane. Like,
Yeah, like everyone the same, but also everyone is different, and
that's
it's
the
totally,
beauty.
but yeah, and also it's totally like, why do we have communities? Because there are like-minded people. And for example, but it also doesn't mean that if somebody like board games, that you will like go and play with somebody else who like board games, because one
Right.
person can be like totally different, I don't know, idea, thoughts in their mind. And if they are just playing one board game, once again, it doesn't mean that they will accept each other. They may, let's say, accept each other at the moment of the game while they're doing something together, but it doesn't mean that they will be friends. And
Well, right. And that's also the thing is like, does acceptance necessitate relationship like down the line? If I accept you now that we must relate in some way, we must be collaborators, we must be romantic partners, we must now be like whatever. I mean, for you, even, do you accept every single part of your partner?
no,
Because your partner changes every day, right? Like, is the partner
like,
that you're with today the same that you created a child with, right? Like, then
there is a
you've changed over
saying,
time.
that your freedom ends where other person's freedom starts. So it's always about, finding some compromise, I would say. I don't know. I don't know if there are any human being on the earth who can accept the whole me.
All 110. Do you see? So, and then that brings us to then it has to be an internal process because I'll speak for me. I am on this healing self acceptance journey, right? Identity, I'm black and white. I'm American, but never like really felt American. Like, what does that mean? Right. I've traveled and lived in over 65 countries. To me, I feel like I'm just a woman of the world. I feel more closely related to my Irish Druidic lineage
Hmm.
roots than any other, but you'd never know because I'm brown. So, like, what are you saying about me? You can choose to accept that I'm half white, or you could be like a lot of people and be like, well, Viki, you're black, which is very common. Your dad's black, so you're black. Like that could be the case. And so you're putting your stuff on me. Whereas if I, for example, go to an event, so I'm in Denver and there's these events called Vibes in the Park, and it's
Mm,
specifically for brown and black people to vibe and
mm.
chill and be together because really it's a very white city. So if I go there, and this is honest, like because this has been programmed over my life that I'm now unlearning is do I belong in this space? Am I black enough?
Mm.
That's the shit. Like that's one facet of the shit that I can go through in this country, especially. Did I ever deal with that? Like I've been to the Balkans and I went with my mom who looks like you.
Mhm.
And I studied that region. That was my focus of study in college, right? The Balkan Wars. So when I got there, I was like, okay, I got to talk to my mom. I got to make sure we're on the same page. Like people are going to be looking at us. They're going to think that I'm different. They're going to triple take, right? Did any of that happen? No, my
Eh,
friend, it didn't.
ah,
No one gave a fuck. They were like, you're beautiful. We love you. Oh, this is your mom. Cool. I get more of that stuff in this country.
But I would say that it depends on a person. Because, for
Sure.
example, I was one on the sea somewhere in Europe. I feel like it was Greece, and I saw like there were like three like really really black women and women. Sorry, my English sucks. Still, where if you accept, where do you accept me? Okay. Anyway,
I accept
and
you.
it was so fun. Like I was looking not on them, I was looking on other people around them.
Mm,
And for me, like they're a human. Like it's not a zoo, like they're just real human. And other people were like turning their back. They were like watching. I was seeing like they were, oh my God, look at them. So there are some people, and for me, like it doesn't matter where you are in the world. And like I remember I read somewhere David Spink's post, and it started like as a wild male, and I was like, What are you talking about?" And then I
welcome
was
to
like,
America.
oh yeah, now I understand. Because for me, like once again, as a wild male, I have no ideas how other people feel, and it doesn't mean, for example, if like they are being bullied, they are being like receiving like bad looks, bad words, and all the stuff. Like if I do not do that, it doesn't mean that others not doing that too. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh wow. So like, oh wow.
Yes. And because I would say, if I may, because you're a community minded person, and if I'm not mistaken, like you also come from a culture that is woven with community and like village mentality still, whereas this one's not, right? Like US is very individualistic, separated, disconnected, I would say, you know. Um with that being said, I tend to come at what you're saying from okay, and I can't be held accountable for how all of these other people, how all of these other white men, if I'm a white man, perceive you, or feel how they're being perceived, or know about their privilege or do not know about their privilege. I can only work on me and know what is important to me, discern my own like moral barometer, which again, this is why it goes back to like childhood and stuff. Kids and adolescents, that's a hard spot to say like how to teach acceptance and belonging, because they have to go through those years of falling down, scuffing up their knees, getting embarrassed, being singled out, that stuff. Like we have to have those experiences to then at this point discern like, oh, I'm lit and I'm doing the work and I don't know everything. So I am going to humble myself to be in a conversation where I may get bulldozed because I don't know what I don't know. And I think that space, I don't know what I don't know, can be an invitation for like you or me to teach you, or for you to teach me, as opposed to being inflamed, angry, disappointed, saddened by everyone that looks like you. Right? Now I've decided all of y'all are the same. But, and that's another thing, is like, even on it's so nuanced, because like you're not just a white male, right? Like you're also a father, you're also a partner, you're also European, you also come from like a war-torn country. So there's all these other layers that add to your experience that you get to choose to either share or be like, I belong in whatever spaces I choose because I know and I've been through it. I've been through the ringer. I can stand here and feel assured that I have something to give. That's how I feel.
Still, you are sure. Let's say that you are sure, but once again, you know, for example, if I'm coming to like, even though I'm a community builder, and some people think that community builders are like super extroverts and they're talking to anyone, and like it's just impossible. It's not, definitely not that like, and I can be this person definitely within the people I know within my community. But when I'm joining like another group, when I'm going to some kind of conference or I don't know, some kind of co-working, I'll be the quietest person in the room. You know,
and why is that?
you will never understand that I'm a community builder, that I'm talking to, I don't know, hundreds of people daily. And that's because I can't say that I belong there without understanding other people and what's going on. So I feel like my belonging still relies on acceptance of others.
And I think that that's fine. But do you feel that they are different things? Do you feel like they are steps to some end goal? Do you feel like they're complementary and they're both fruit in a fruit basket? But, you know, do you think they have to go together?
I just feel that I have no ideas who are those people. For example, I'm coming to let's say, okay, community conference. I understand that those are my people. But if I'm coming to sales conference, like I know stuff about sales. Like I have a sales community in Ukraine. But still, once again, there are different types of people. If we can compare community people and sales people, it might look like, you know, there are all people, but they have totally different mindset. And I have to understand if even though I have a lot of knowledge about sales and how to do it, but still, I feel like, can I add something to them? Because if they are, you know, being taught to do something one way, and I understand like adding the community perspective, I understand that it's not like you are selling something to somebody. You have to really care about the person you are selling to. Will they accept my approach, or will they just, okay, you don't know anything, we need to sell?
So why does that matter to you? Why does being accepted matter to you?
It's a good question, and I don't really know an answer. Like, I'm trying to, maybe I believe that because I'm afraid of being kind of ghosted.
Okay.
You
Have you
know,
been
I
ghosted?
don't, yeah, I don't like, I'm, I'm trying to bring it in my mind. I don't really like if, we are in the conversation, then person like turn around and go away because they met somebody else and they like, oh, okay, so we'll talk to you later.
So
So
you
I
don't matter. You don't matter enough for me to stay.
kind of like that. And it's not like, you know, some kind of bothers me. In this case, I was like, yeah, sure. See you then. See you never, most likely. But
Yeah.
it's still a little hard to understand. Okay, so we having this conversation, we are here, we are together, like we have an eye contact, we are talking to each other, and then you're
Yeah.
turning around, going away. Like it's kind of rude.
It is kind of rude.
And I need to understand that if I'm talking to somebody, this person is talking to me, not to the wall, not to the green light somewhere behind me, not to some person they met like at the end of the conference room and they are waving, hey, hello, Winnie, I need to meet you. So, and I'm always like that. So for example, if I have conversation with somebody, I do not go to other people. You know, like I had this, like when we had community meetings in Ukraine, it started like from 17 people up to 100, and it was easy
Woo!
for me. It was easy for me to talk to 17 people, but it's impossible to talk to 100 people, and I felt like I'm not paying attention to everyone. And I felt really bad because I was going from one person to another, like, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Without having any conversations. But then I decided, okay, I will have 3 conversations with 3 people, but
Yeah.
really good, deep conversations, which matters. And they won't feel like they doesn't matter to me. And I won't feel like I don't matter to them. We will be just, like on the same vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. So you
And
reframe.
I also feel like it's kind of like, afraid of being alone, kind of like that. It's not like being alone, like reading a book or like going for a walk, but in general, being alone within the society. Because I still feel that human beings are, the social animals.
Yeah.
So
So you associate acceptance with that you therefore won't be alone, inevitably. If you're accepted and you belong, you're going to be surrounded by people that are supporting and want to be around you.
I would say that yes. And I can say that I belong only to somewhere where, like, as we are talking about, as there are my people, but how do I feel that there are my people? They accepted me. It's not like I accepted them. I don't know. I don't know how to go to a group of
Like you had no
unknown people and
choice.
like, hey, I accepted you. Be my friends. It can work. It can work. Like I know some. It was even one person in the university. He really very wanted to connect with a small group of people, and they didn't accept him. But he was consistent. He tried to do everything he could to belong to the group, and finally he became one of the
That's
leaders
a
of this
beautiful
group, one of the
example.
people.
That's a beautiful example because that guy felt innately like he belonged. He knew he belonged and he kept showing up as himself, being persistent, being consistent, being resilient to then at the end of the day, people were like, oh, yeah, this guy, he's part of our group. And now he's accepted and belongs, but he believed he belonged from the start. And that's what I'm talking about. Mm.
And also he had a goal. So
Mm.
it was not like I just want to be in this group. I feel like it can be very common in corporate environment where
Yeah.
like an employee trying to hang out with management because he want to be like them, and at the end of the day, like they becoming managers also. And
Yeah.
managers,
Yeah.
like I know many stories when people like hanging out with managers and then they are being treated as managers even though they are not.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
they are
Yep.
intentionally trying to get into this circle. But once again, for me, definitely, if I need to do something, if I have a goal, I won't care about, whether they accept me or not. I know that I have a goal. I'm going to this goal. But if I'm connecting like on a human level, if I do not have a goal, if I do not know if I want to be accepted, if I want to belong to this group, there, this is where my, like fears, let's say fears are coming up. But if I have
Yeah.
a goal, definitely, like they cannot accept me in the beginning. They can do not pay attention on me, but I will kind of like prove.
But they
But
will.
once again, should I prove or not?
Well, shoulds are hard because if you have a goal and it matters to you, that's it, right? That's actually it. We as humans are meaning making machines. So you are going to make a story and a meaning from these people turning around and giving you the back, right? At this event or this group you attend, and you've been attending every month for 11 months. And you're like, if one more person gives me the back, I'm out of here. And that next and final month, finally, everyone's like, and now we're going to spotlight Yurii, who's been consistent. And you're like, wait, I made it. So I think for something like that, it does matter. And you get to choose, though, is what I'm saying. Like, I think at a certain point, as we just elevate in our lives, we continue to learn, we unlearn, we unpack shit, we realize, oh, that's an old story that doesn't actually work for me anymore. Once we start to take the reins of our lives and recognize that I'm constantly at choice. I mean, look, it sounds simple. And I think that it is simple, but I don't think that it's easy. I don't think anything we're talking about is easy because everything is nuanced and we are multi-identitied, right? And the stories we've associated with our different aspects of our identity are going to be triggered by different people, different spaces, different things, right? All that is true. And still, there is a point, I think, where if we want to be people of integrity, if we want to be people that are whole and messy and figuring it out and living in a state of acceptance, then taking ownership for all the choices we make, that becomes immense. That is an immense learning that I feel like I'm going through in this particular moment. Like, actually, I am both not in control of anything, really, yet also I am accountable for everything that's in my life, every person that's in my life, all the time that I don't have, that I say I don't have, all the spaces I don't feel like I can go, all the places I don't feel safe in. And safety is a big one. And that is valid and true for a lot of people in a lot of places in the world, 100%. I'm not negating any of it. I'm just trying to propose the idea of what if we took more accountability for the choices that we do make. And I think that we live and have been living in a convenient, instantaneous gratification, lazy lifestyle. If you are in the Western world where you have smart devices, right? Like let's just include everybody that has smart devices. You get everything you want. So there's no hard work anymore, right? My boyfriend D talks about this all the time. Like his grandparents, he grew up on this farm in Montenegro, and his grandparents lived forever. and did it all. Had a farm, milked the cows, got the animals, got all the kids, cooked the meals, right, got everybody to school, constant. And everybody I know now that's in their 30s, we can barely keep our hair on, and we're most of us are damn sure not managing a farm. We don't even own the homes we live in, right? Like I think
Mm.
that oftentimes we take the easy way out instead of doing the hard work. And I think the hard work is, for example, going again and again and again to that space you know you belong, but you're not yet accepted. And if something that you want is acceptance, that's valid. But know that it's your choice.
You know, you reminded me an interesting story about saying about the farm and managing all the stuff. I were once with my wife in meeting her grandparents, and it was like they have like houses
Where are they?
in Ukrainian village,
Okay.
and there are no like big fences around houses. So basically, like if a cow goes around, it can go anywhere they want.
Okay.
So it was a cow running like from others people to this, and the person like, "Hey, stop the cow!" And we
Yeah.
were with my wife like in the garden, and we're like, "Oh my God, it's a cow! It has like this, how do you call it?"
Horns. Horns, horns.
Yeah, yeah. It has it, and then her grandparents come in like, "What? You couldn't stop the cow?"
Oh my God.
And I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know what to say. I was like, and we had so much fun later on, like talking, like, "What? You couldn't stop the cow?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and talking about responsibility and accountability. Oh my God, I don't
Yeah.
know what a percentage of people on the earth taking responsibility about everything what they are
Little.
doing. Okay, at
Little.
least about half of things that they are doing.
Yeah. Right. Let's give it a little lead.
Yeah. Let's make it a little easier, because
I mean,
I'm not taking a responsibility for everything I'm doing. Like
me either.
I would say for let's say biggest part, but not for everything. So, and even to take responsibility for the biggest part, because can you imagine? You have to say, "I'm blaming myself," and you have to say it like you have to stand in front of the mirror, like, "I blame you," not pointing fingers on other people, which is much easier. Like, it's so much
Of
easier to say that
course.
something happened because of that person.
Hands
It's
clean.
yeah, and you know, I don't know, like I can't say I was always responsible, and I don't
Sure.
remember when I started thinking about that. But you know, it helps so much when you switch your mind from like they to blame instead of it's my responsibility. I've done that. What can I learn? You know?
Because guess what? When you're in that mindset, then you can actually make greater change in what you see in your own day to day. And then that gets to permeate outward because you start taking accountability, paying attention to what's important to you, having boundaries, and so on. People around you start to mirror you. That is the like subtle energetic stuff that's happening around us that we can't hold in our hands. That's hard to quantify, but is there, right?
And
I
also
know you
it's
think
fun, but when you are blaming others, people are also mirroring you. So if you're blaming other, get ready to be blamed.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. And as you start to make that shift more continuously, like, okay, so where in this situation is it can I take accountability? So the easiest example of these, right, is like if you're in a romantic relationship or if you're close with your manager, like I would just say one of the two, and you have conflict, whatever, any kind of conflict in the whole world, and it gets heated, you're at like a 6 or 7 volume out of 10, right? I will never say that this is easy. Shit. But it's possible to pause the conversation and be like, hold on, breathe it out a little bit, and actually say aloud, okay, you know what? I definitely was coming at you like I was your mother. And I'm seeing it now, and I'm still angry, but I see that I did that. I'm going to take accountability for that. I'm not going to apologize. That's something I've also been doing. I'm not apologizing unless you let me know you've been offended. I will acknowledge what's happening. I will acknowledge my lapse. I will acknowledge I was tardy. I will acknowledge. But that language change and that de-escalation in the moment, if you can, right? Like it's hard, but I'm doing it now and it ain't easy. It doesn't happen every time, but then they too de-escalate. And now actually we can converse instead of conflictually yell. And so, and I do believe all of these tangential branches off this belonging tree that we created are really all they all boomerang back to self-love and self-trust, right? Like as ethereal and slip through the fingers and fickle and feeble as that can be, but if you believe that you are coming from an intentional, communal, connected, creative space, let's say, then you get to trust that the people that receive you will receive you. And that those are the people that are to receive you. There's too many people out here. I'm not trying to be accepted by everybody. I can't live in that world because it's entirely too much energy output to continuously think about, be about, try to figure out a way to get everybody to fuck with me. When I'm like, actually, like, so to your point of the 17 versus 100 people, you had to make that choice of like, look, success for me today will be, I have 3 real conversations with people. And then the next time it'll be 3 other people. But for right now, this is what I'm capable of. That is such a powerful choice that you made in reframing what success looks like. So now you've changed a story, right? You don't have to be everything for everyone here.
And it's so much better. It's so much better to have this deep conversation with one person than saying hello to 100 people, because it makes no sense, like I can say hello to millions of people if you give me a mic and an audience, but it's not how relationships are built. And also you reminded me of one interesting story. There was one person who constantly like trying to connect with me, like, hey, how are you, and all this stuff. And I was like, I didn't pay too much attention, but we still had conversations. We were talking about stuff, and at some point, like it's been, I don't know, for a year or something like that, and at some point this person stopped messaging. I was like, wait, what's going on? So we're getting used to people are getting to us, and if somebody doing something constantly, then you like, and if they stop, it's like, wait, where is this person? So people are starting to see this person after that. And it's talking about acceptance and belonging. So I feel like I had another thought in the beginning, but currently I'm feeling like if you have a goal and you are accountable of what you are doing, and you are doing it constantly, and you are doing it not to just do something and just to achieve this goal and then leave the group you want to
so give an example with. Give an example of what you mean.
Okay, so for example, there is a group of, let's say, BMW owners, and I have an Audi, for example, and I want to join their group, but I don't want to have BMW. I can still hang out with those people, and they can make fun of me. I can make fun of them. We can connect together, and we can even drive. They will be driving their BMWs. I will drive their my Audi, and I can even, to have fun, add a logo, add a sticker of BMW on top of like my Audi logo, and I can still become one of them if I want it. But if I don't care, like I'm becoming one of them, and then like, BMW sucks, Audi rules.
Right, then that's different.
What's the point? What's the point? Like, it makes no. It's basically to prove your point of view, that you are not changing your point of view. You are not trying to, really connect with those people, but you are just want to prove them something and leave them with it. There are many people who are doing their, let's say, revenge. So they're becoming friends with somebody, and then they do anything to ruin this friendship, and they're like, here is a lesson for you.
Yeah. And it goes back to where it's coming from. What you're putting out is what you're going to get. So if you're going to be that vengeful, resentful sort of person, that's all you're going to receive. And that's what is going to be reinforced, that this is what life is. This is what relationship is. This is what community is. So again, it's simple, not easy, but it gets to be up to you again. Whoever surrounds you, you're not happy with it, that has been your choice. That's
which is super hard to, deal with.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you imagine saying to somebody who is in really bad company, like, it was your choice? They will say anything except for, this was my choice.
Absolutely, they will. And I coach. So actually, I have this conversation often. And, you got to like kind of dance around it a little to see whether someone can receive that information or not. But there is definitely a moment of anger at you for making it obvious, shortly followed by oftentimes liberation, because they realize we realize that only we have kept ourselves in our box that we created. So just like a goldfish, or is it a koi fish? Two ends of the fish spectrum, but you put one in a small tank and that's what it believes life is, right? And it stays small. You put it in a tank as big as this backyard and it too expands to the size of its tank. So I like to use that, picture visualization, because that's us too. Like, we get to be as big or small as we allow. The whole, Ethereum can hold us all. You, me, everybody in the community industry could be offering the same set of offerings, and there would still be wait lists of people trying to get at all of us, because we all come with different flavors and sizings and experiences and baggage that we get to pump in and out with other people, right? So like, what if we lived in this abundant viewpoint of life will giveth, life will giveth, as long as I show up and ask for what I want and be true. What if it's that fucking simple, yo? What if it really was?
We need to discover it, Yeah. We need to discover. I feel like everyone has to discover, because you are talking about, ask what you want and get what you asked. And I really see it. That's how it works.
That is
because, like I've made a post some time ago on LinkedIn saying that while growing up, I was like taught not to share anything with anyone, because you can have a bad eye, an evil eye. But then I noticed that the more you share, the more things are coming together, because people, and currently now I have this thing, I'm kidding with people. Like, I'm asking some question, like I have some emotion, I have some impulse, and then I message them to a person right away. And I never want them to answer me immediately. I'm always saying, like, so do not care about this message. Like, do not answer me right now. It's just a seed, a small seed. I
Yep.
planted in your mind. Your
Yep.
mind will deal with it. If it's
Yep.
grow, it's grow. If not, it's not. Like, no worries about. And the funny thing is that people are not really thinking about this. But when the moment is coming, the seed is growing. And I receive very strange messages like, hey, do you remember you were talking about, you told me about that? So here what I found. And
Yep.
they didn't search. They were just, so when I had one car, I was seeing any other drivers
Oh yeah.
with this car. When I had another car, I do not see any of those. I see only drivers with my car. So
Ah,
the thing you have, the thing you notice, and what you've been told, that's what you see. So yeah, oh my God, our brain is so powerful, but also so tricky. And yeah, I love this mind games and
me too.
discovering by small
Yep.
steps, like how it works. And that's exactly what we were doing today.
Yeah.
Like we are playing with our minds and adding new perspectives to things. And I feel like, if not this conversation, I don't think that I would have this thought that I can basically belong anywhere without even being accepted initially. So
Yeah.
now I learned that if I have a goal, I
Yeah.
can really be accepted if I really need it.
It's
The
if you
question
really,
is, the question is, do you really need it? And it's the hardest question, and I don't know. I feel like I can't answer to this question all the time.
because you are dynamic and you change all the time and you're allowed. And yeah, I think easily the hardest question available is what do you want? What do you want? You ask somebody that, shit, they just gonna start laughing at you like, haha, you know what I want. I don't. I'm asking
Yeah.
you for real. It is not easy. And you know, starting to ask the harder questions, starting to sit in the awkward, uncomfortable silence of someone thinking for a while,
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out what's happening is allowed. So yeah, I definitely feel like I took away. I hadn't really thought at all about the choice aspect that we talked so much in length about, and that has that is the glue that's between acceptance and belonging now for me as I look forward. Like, okay, they complement each other, but neither can happen without you being intentional with choice right here and taking accountability for which, like where you're trying to go. Do you want acceptance? Do you not care? Do you belong? Do you trust and love yourself? Those are consistent choices to be made. So that's what I'm taking away. Thank you, Yurii.
So it's up for everyone to make those choices. And, as Bruce Lee told, be a water, my friend.
Okay. Be water. I have that shirt. Be water. I love it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So yeah, thank you, Viki, for this conversation. And I hope it was the beginning. I feel like it's not the end.
It's not.
And maybe, just maybe, we'll see. Maybe somebody will join us.
Mm.
We'll
All
see.
right.
So
Yeah.
let's figure it out.
Yeah. See you next time.